Seraphina Wavecrest felt her first taste of sunrise on 12 August 1998 in a blue tin trailer perched on weathered stilts above the eelgrass ribbons of Yaquina Bay, Oregon. Outside, sea lions barked at gulls fussing over crab scraps, while her mother, a wandering soul surf guitarist who presses lavender petals between battered fretboards, picked a slow riff that made empty Coke bottles chime on the counter. Her father, a bar pilot apprentice who sketches cloud sea dragons on tide logs, leaned so near their freckles brushed and promised his newborn that rip currents, lunch line, rumors, and skimpy store charts will always drift aside for any spirit who grows to her full silhouette. Curves billowed through the wave crest line like warm Kuroshio water, slipping beneath cold California current, so nobody fretted when baby Seraphina tore a second muslin swaddle before the kettle rattled. Granny Nadine slipped a netting needle under each rip, replaced every inch with strips cut from a retired sail, and laughed that spare cloth cost pennies. But teaching a child to shrink could cost her whole continents of dawn. Elementary corridors smelled of pencil shavings, Marionberry cobbler, and salt spray sneaking through tilted windows. Seraphina already loomed half a head above her classmates, obscuring the projector whenever she traced Pacific Plate boundaries on the pulled-down map. One stormy recess, two boys hop-stepped rings around her, chanting "Bar Stacker" every time her rubber boots thudded a chalk square. That evening, she scavenged the rack line for soda caps, sand polished to mirrors, threaded them on fishing leader, stitched the tinkling strand down her teal hoodie, and walked into class at dawn, showering rainbow freckles across the ceiling tiles. A substitute reading coach captured 7 shaky seconds on a prepaid phone, posted the clip to a newborn video corner, and by lunch, 15,000 strangers cheered the girl who recast mockery into beacon sparkle. She inked a pledge in violet beside long division drills, clouds crowd only until you flash them bright enough to scatter. Weekends belonged to the public pier, where her mother's surf-funk riffs tangled with diesel wine from trawlers, skillet hiss from chowder tents, and gulls heckling deckhands. Store jeans jammed halfway on Seraphina's thighs, so she swapped tip jar coins for sun-bleached gill net, unraveled it into rope, crocheted high-rise culottes, sprayed high-rise silhouettes with squid ink, and posed at vermilion sunset against rust-veined ballards, while her cousin snapped grainy frames. She funneled every shot into an online diary called Lantern Tide. The same week, a shiny photo app trickled through patchy coastal towers. Captions toggled between Oregon slang and plain truths like "curves, anchor gale gusts better than seawalls." Before 16 candles flickered, she counted 53,000 unseen hearts tapping like on each copper frame. Proof bright screen shouts cafeteria whispers faster than any assistant coach shouts. A marine energy scholarship ferried her down the coast to Humboldt State. Daylight dissolved inside Wave Flume Labs. Nights belonged to a 24-hour taco stand glowing neon guava beneath redwood silhouettes. The heat lamp became her only softbox. Between lingua orders, she filmed 90-second reels, folding parchment into spruce cone barrettes while decoding dart rotation in half-surf hush, half-lecture fizz. Unclipped layered river otter chirps over a lo-fi shuffle while she chain-stitched reflective crab pot cord into thrift denim. 46 hours later, the counter skimmed past 1.2 million. North Coast style blogs crowned her the taco stand couturier, though every sponsor email froze at size 16. Seraphina slid each pitch into a folder labeled "Shrinking Nets," wiped cilantro glaze from her cuff, and plated another order. February, King Tides delivered an email from Columbia Sportswear inviting her to co-design a storm shell capsule called Kelp Post. She sent 3 granite solid terms: patterns must grade to 60-inch hips, half the production crew hired from community college fashion programs, and 10% of net profit directed to eelgrass meadow restoration along the Oregon archipelago. Columbia signed before dawn kissed the lab skylight. The chute rose on a secret sandbar where new harbor pups wriggled at the tide line. Seraphina guided curvy paddleboarders slicing glass ripples while a drone drew lazy figure 8s overhead. When the lookbook dropped, every extended size jacket vanished in 41 hours across 29 countries. Lantern Tide vaulted beyond 700,000 glimmers, still dusted in powdered sugar from a graveyard shift, churro sprint. She perched her phone on a salsa tub, ducked behind burlap sacks, and live-streamed tear-bright thanks beneath buzzing fluorescence. First, gentle wave of invitation rolls, right now. If the tie of this story already lifts your ribs, tap subscribe this second. One soft click secures your rail space, so next week's voyage glides into your feed before algorithm currents drift. Spotlight shimmer lured, rumor goals. A gossip blog claimed Seraphina cinched steel plates round her waist beneath Kel Pulse coats. At sunrise, she paddled a cedar board past Spartina ribbons, stood calm in sports bra and linen shorts, outlined every stretch line with crushed bougainvillea powder, and plucked a funk riff so raw pelicans quieted. 10 million viewers reposted the jam tagged bougainvillea proof, brushing pink dust across their own curves until gossip slid beneath the tire. Taco wages braided with capsule royalties and whipped into Wavecrest butter, a custard swirling spruce tip cream, huckleberry seed oil, and mica sparks that beam pearl under phone flash. 19,000 tins cooled on her father's chart table, lids tied with braided crab trap rope. Each tag stamped "Moisturize Your Horizon." Inventory drained in 83 minutes, netting $197,000. 20% seeded beacon grants that ferry industrial surgers and hydrophones to plus-size teams in coastline schools from Coos Bay to Crescent City. 8 months later, 36 grantees hosted a floating fashion and humpback chorus aboard a retro tug wrapped in LED seaweed, streaming to dawn deaths from Nairobi to New. Portland Fashion Week meant new war floor when a backstage blower sliced her emerald mesh gown from hip to hem 80 heartbeats before curtain. Seraphina yanked neon dockline off a truss, laced the gash like hiking hooks, and walked the runway as though the splice had lived in the sketch. Camera shutters snapped like kettle corn. Vogue Cascadia hailed the save rope cadence, and another million lantern beacons flared before vinyl warmed the after party. Trouble circled back when a disgruntled handler leaked trimmed emails implying she demanded crab cake towers and chauffeured seaplanes for her rescue puff in orbit. She posted the full chain showing refillable water urns, lentil stew for crew, and caption tablets for deaf stylists, then routed that month's affiliate wave, $136,000 into biodegradable crab trap pilots off Seal Rock. Fans repeated her doctory receipts, shine brighter than rumor grit until whispers fell silent like ebb tide. A midsummer lantern tied shimmered aqua, 6.9 million Instagram friends, 3.4 million real voyagers, 2 million steady channel subscribers, engagement cresting near 10%, and rewriting brand forecasts. Cartier invited her to headline a topaz surge vignette filmed inside Heseta Head Lens. She accepted once Cartier funded therapy stipends for Razor, clam crews battered by freak storms. The finished clip, her wrist scattering amber chips across iron ribs, became Cartier's most saved post for the quarter. Family keeps her compass true. Twice a month she streams Porchline Groove. Mom slaps syncopated banjo beside a propane skillet. Dad recites cloud haiku, and Seraphina flips thrift denim under twinkle bulbs. One show hit 9 million when Orbit waddled through powdered sugar and sneezed glitter across the lens. A seabird refuge now sponsors every stream, tagging rehabilitated puffins with solar beacons funded by Wavecrest butter. Butter revenue breezed past 12 million before a second equinox. She leased a dormant hatchery shed, carved skylights through corrugated tin, and hired furloughed deckhands plus design grads to whip custard and non-lids by hand during midday groove breaks to banjo house loops. Efficiency consultants begged for shrink bands. She repeated her mother's mantra, fingertips hoard legends long after robots forget, and rope ties stayed. My Weather candor colors every upload. Basalt cliff portraits sit beside taco stand selfies, captioned, same sky, different current. She shares breath loops captured in sea caves, printable resilient sheets in English and Chinook jargon, and sliding scale therapy codes. 132,000 followers say her shoreline honesty became their first calm harbor. Community rides glitter under crushed shell paint. Hundreds pedal coastal trails at dusk wearing Wavecrest butter on collarbones, and LED drift glass tassels on spokes. Ticket coins swell beacon grants and build wheelchair snorkel lifts at tide pool coves. Chowder shacks lay the late. Clam bisque bowls soar 15% on ride nights. Seraphina rolls lead on a vintage cruiser with Orbit plush strapped front, pausing to fix any rider sagging lace. She is polishing a memoir titled Currents Keep Names, slated for 11 language shelves next spring, while a documentary crew, tracks her plan to convert retired tide buoys into floating maker hubs for island schools. Puma's wide-to-wave wave lantern sneaker splashes next quarter, threaded with reflective rope and cushioned by algae foam, steering 10% of revenue into beacon seedlings along the Pacific Rim. Second Tie Tap arrives now. If your subscribe badge still beams red, please mellow it gray. One touch secures the next Sunfleck chapter before algorithm undertow sweeps it away. Playback is gliding towards slack water. In the description, you will uncover fresh Wavecrest butter jars, express beacon grant links, tonight's Porchline Groove playlist, and a discreet compass. A research-sculpted kit of conversation sparks and calm confidence drills, revealing the clearest path to true love and the surest way to make any woman you meet feel authentic intrigue. Free, wide open, one tap away. If the SoCap Spine Flash, Rope Kids Gown Rescue, or Orbit glitter, sneeze-shaped, even half a grin, smack like, drop your brightest ripple in the comments, and share this voyage with a friend whose sails hang slack. Every curve redirects currents, every scar refracts moonlight, and the Pacific bows to anyone who plants two brave boots on the pier and greets tomorrow eyes wide. Last Salt Whisper brushes the mic. Subscribe this heartbeat, claim your rail, touch that love link tucked in the description, and meet me on the next rising tide when a new story pulses beyond the breakers and courage calls your name again.